Okay. Hello, Classier Super R-Type. Whoa. Snake thing, and a speed boost. Gray power. That hasn't gotten to see much. I guess we haven't seen yellow power much either. It's been on 2 levels that you could like actually get it on. I guess you could have gotten it on stage 2 if you don't die because it was the first power up on the level. So yeah, this will be interesting when I don't have a bit, because it's really useful to have a bit here. Wow, I expected the whole snake to disappear, and then I was like, wait, is it still coming at me? So then I had to dodge, and I was glad I dodged. Do I want that speed? I already have a good amount of speed, and a good amount of slowdown. But that's not a stat. Oh man, guys coming from below. Blue power would be useful. Being dead is not useful. Okay, now that that's been established, I am not going to have as much slowdown, nor as much speed or power or anything. Yeah! That went well. So, I'm going to really need that first speed boost for dodging things. Also, why does the music sound like sad? I didn't get that first speed boost for dodging things. Yup. I got zoned out of it. I couldn't go up and get it. Wow, staying back. Amazing. Oh, man. Should have stayed back still, I guess. Just gotta let the power-ups come to you. But this first snake, I need to lead it left, I guess? Alright, we're not going forward for that. Because the enemies seem to have a limited seeking ability. And I'm dead. But yeah, the first few pairs of enemies that come from the top and bottom just can't reach this left edge of the screen at all. Well, a few of them can, but we pretend they're not dangerous. Whew. Just a bunch of that one basic enemy is apparently enough. Whoa! Okay. So this is what we're doing. Not paying attention to what's behind us. Yep, I get that my game is over. Except it's not, because this game has unlimited continues. Oh yeah, there's a snake. Remember him? He killed me once. Maybe more than once. No, I want that not there. Whoa! I want that. I'm not gonna get it. That was blue power up, wasn't it? That would be useful. Okay, but we're killing dudes. Wait, no, the second or the third box on this level was a speed power up. This is blue power up. Sometimes I don't have these levels totally memorized. Especially because this is a blind run of the game. Ah! If I had that second speed power up, I'd have made it. Maybe. I at least wouldn't have died exactly there. I'd have made it a few more pixels up on the screen or something. So yeah, this part, it's kind of insane. Even though it's like just snakes and guys coming in single directions. Man, if you could get here with 2 bits, this would be so easy. Whoa! Oh! The force almost seems to cover you above and below a little. I guess... I guess the enemies are, thick enough in their middle that sometimes they hit the force before they can hit the front of your ship. I could buy that. At the store. Or something. I don't know. These are such weird snake enemies. Like, you destroy a segment in the middle, the rest of the segments just keep flying. You destroy the head, the rest of the snake just keeps flying. So weird. But I mean, it's not weird to play with, it's just weird. Hey, a new enemy! I've made it farther in the level. Oh man, they shoot. I'm dead. Even more stuff. Excellent. I will take yellow. Whoa! So those are mines. You can tell because they want to kill me. So these snakes, they're also mines. You can tell because they want to kill me. Force, kill everything? Yes! Melee! Excellent! Useless second missile power-up. Okay, I'll take it. I don't know, maybe it invisibly increases their damage. Wow! Okay! Lots of guys. Ah! Oh, it's almost like they ran out of design. This is just like a corridor with enemies. I don't know, some of the enemy positions were actually pretty good though. So it's not like there's no design here, it's just... This beginning part doesn't seem as interesting as the other levels, because, I mean, the other levels, you've got, like, stuff going on. Except maybe the first level, which was just, like, the space level. Because you gotta begin in space. Or was there stuff? I don't remember. I bet this stuff, or this... Yes, this stuff has level if you go later on. No, this level probably has more stuff if I actually, like, make it somewhere in the level. But I'm not doing that. So we have enemy spam, the movie. Kill you. Don't get killed. Get killed. Whoa, I didn't. This level, it's probably always going to be a little surprising when I don't get killed. I don't know if I like the force attached or unattached. Whoa! I do like my face not in a snake, though. Man, everyone's gonna get so bored of hearing the first 20 seconds of the song. Or so. It's like such a sad song. Except until you get to this part. But you know, those first like, I don't know, 10 seconds or so, the very intro. And then it's like, by the way, we have a factory here, and that's why it sounds like factory music. I don't know. I can't identify musically what's factory-y about it. Totally a word. Or no, it would be factory-ish. I think that's what the King of Cosmos would call it. Because he doesn't attach Y. I think if it ends in a vowel, he doesn't attach Y. No, I think it's arbitrary, because things can be snacks-ish. Man, if I had a Katamari, this level would be so easy. A bunch of things would just stick to it. Because all they do is, like, send things at you. Man! Or if I had the, collection marionette from The Wonderful End of the World. And I would be the goddess with a plan at the end of the world. Except, no. Oh, right, there's a snake. So, um, yes. Eventually. Yes. I mean, I've been in this corridor. What more am I gonna say about this corridor? It looks, lovely. Yes. The spikes on the top and bottom. It looks like kind of like that like organic metal sort of feel where they've got like the metal veins or whatever. Like they don't like pipes. You see the like curved things with the lines on them, and I'm not paying attention to enemies. Yeah, Bido, they are an interesting bunch. I guess it makes sense that you just have like a bunch of enemies in a tunnel that's like actually like made of Bido. And you have a lot of game overs in a tunnel that's made of Bido. Man. I know I said I reserved the right to switch difficulties, but I'm like already on the final level. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Snake preventing me from getting back to where I want to go. Whoa. Okay, okay. Just gotta watch everything on the entire screen at all times. And then... You just gotta memorize where every single enemy comes from. No, that's probably a little extreme. You just gotta memorize, like, safe locations. Like, I want to be at the front of the screen in this part, because the enemies are gonna come from the walls near the front of the screen. I want to be at the back of the screen for this part. You know, that sort of thing. Positioning. This whole game has been all about positioning. Whoa! Dead. Man, what am I even gonna edit into a death montage? Because, like, usually I like to show, like, the first few seconds before I die. And then it's like, by the way, I die every few seconds. Whoa, right, you again. I don't know, maybe I'm entertaining enough to just leave everything in. Although, like, I don't know. I feel like that's my main weakness as an LPer. If I'm talking, I don't want to cut it. I think Raukau has talked about this before. That you have to be able to cut commentary, even if it's good, for the sake of keeping the video entertaining. I guess some LPers probably see commentary as central. Some LPers probably see gameplay as central. I don't know. The thing is, I'm wondering whether any learning that's important is going on in this segment where I'm just dying repeatedly. Maybe I'll try keeping the force on the back. Because, like, I can kill things in front of me. It's just things behind me that I cannot in any way kill. Until I have, like, the force on my back, or a weapon like the bounce lasers that can go behind you even when you're shooting forward. The force could, of course, just be floating behind me too, and then it would even shoot. So that's why I often keep the force detached if I have no power-ups, because it also shoots. But, I mean, I think it's actually safer in a lot of situations if you have it on you, because then it's right there protecting you with its astounding melee damage. Wow, that snake nearly just, like, popped out and killed me. Just, like, no reactions. By the way, I'm coming from the edge of the screen. I wonder if that snake only appears if you don't kill another snake earlier. Like, could I have... Was it a snake that just went off screen and came back? Okay, now I think I want the force. Oh yeah, it fires more if you have it powered up. And those blue bullets are, like, surprisingly strong. At least if it's anything like R-Type Final. Okay, so if you kill the mines, they don't explode. It's just if you get close. Okay, I guess I can slip between those. So I needed the force on my front there. So when yellow things start showing up, force on the front. Got it. I feel like the yellow thing part is like easier than this intro part. Just because I guess the enemies here are so fast or something. Okay, I want the force on the back now because that worked. Yeah, like it looks like I should have died there when they were like all coming at me, but then like no, the force, it's got me covered. I'm dead. Right. I guess if it was easy, they wouldn't have made it the final level. They would have like put it before the space level if it was easy. Oh man, I did not get my force. I'm so incredibly dead. I would say you don't even know, but you know exactly how incredibly dead I am without the force. Because you've even seen me trying that part with the force detached and it didn't work. I need the force right on me, defending half of my body, so that I only have to defend things from part of the screen. I like that your explosion can pick up power-ups. That's what'll make the difference, I feel. Even though the moment you get a power-up in that way, you lose it. It's still gonna matter somehow. Man, and there's not even like any hope that once I get out of this section there's a checkpoint. Because this game completely lacks checkpoints. Besides whole levels. Like, my checkpoint is I made it to the final level. Okay, so since I have the force on the left, I think I want to be located more towards the right. Except when, like, snakes zone me out of being on the right. And I guess that gets me power-ups earlier. Or at least helps me break the box. Or the POW armor that holds it. I didn't look that up, so I'm still not sure that's right. Whoa. Okay. Alright. Usually if I make it to this part, I die immediately. No, we're fine. We're fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, no, we're not fine. I don't know. I do feel like I have a better chance once I've got the blue lasers. Okay. Killing dudes. Killing dudes. Killing dudes. Dying. No. We're fine. Oh! Should have moved right. That would have got him with the force. But like, I wanted to be moving left so I could keep up with that power up. Because I need both speed, I feel. I need a lot of things. Ow. Okay. We're gonna do this. Don't worry. I hope the boss is easy again. That made the last level, like, seem really easy. Even though, like, the actual, like, level part was pretty difficult. But then it was like, oh, you win for free now that you've made it to the boss once. Because, like, in every level, I've made it to the boss pretty early in the video or in the recording or whatever. But then, like, I lose once and then I can't beat the level again. So I just gotta beat the final boss on the first try, that's it. And then this video will end in a reasonable length, like 30 minutes or something. Watch, I won't even make it to the boss in the first 30 minutes. I think if I play more than an hour, I'm just gonna try again Wednesday. I'll note in the description that it's a failure video, though, so you don't feel like you have to watch the whole thing. And I'll maybe leave timestamps for any time I reach something new. But if somebody's watching a failure video, I assume they're already just interested in seeing failure plus commentary. So, I mean, what am I gonna cut? There is both failure and commentary throughout all parts of this video so far. Except the parts where I'm just staring at the game over screen for some reason. I don't know why I like always get quiet at the game over screen. I'm like, whoa, that's a game over screen. Bet you haven't seen that before in this game. I like when I survive a bit because the music actually does get pretty cool if you manage to live more than like 8 seconds. I haven't timed it out because I'm too busy dying. I would say too busy not dying, but that's clearly not the case. Whoa! I thought I was dead for a moment just because I forgot about where that first snake goes. Oh man, I'm so dead. Oh man, I'm not dead. Normally I wait longer to grab that power up, but it worked out somehow. Wow. I'm still amazed sometimes when the Force blocks things for me. I guess it's good that it kills these enemies literally instantly. Unlike having it detached and shooting. Its bullets seem to take just a little too long to kill them to be useful. So keeping it attached, definitely the strategy. Pro tips from somebody who's clearly an expert at this game. Yes. Whoa! There's a snake here. Still. I want that speed power up still. Yeah. Gotta wait for the power-ups. They'll come to me. I don't need to rush out of position. Of course, it's usually not clear which parts of the screen are out of position until you are doomed. Okay. We are being patient. Dying. Okay, I think I did need to rush a little for that power-up. Maybe if I just don't pop the power-up carrier as early. Oh man, advanced tactics. Don't shoot things for a moment. I kept holding the fire button anyway, though. I was like, let's just avoid that with my bullets. Because, you know, if any of these guys came out of the middle of the screen randomly, I was ready. Even though they only ever come from the sides. I was totally prepared. I was shooting the middle of the screen there. But, you know, avoiding the power-up carrier. But he wasn't in the middle of the screen, so it was fine. I want that because it's a blue power-up. But things are going to come out of the bottom, and I didn't get killed. Wow, I didn't get killed. Not yet, anyway. Oh, I got killed. I could have moved up and left more, I think. I was worried about hitting the snake if I moved left, though, but I had a little room. Or, no, I should have moved forward, then the Force would have killed it. What am I saying? I had room forward. But, like, if you see something, the natural reaction before moving forward is always to move backward. So, yeah. Like, a lot of things as a watcher are obvious how you should have dodged. Because, I don't know. For me, it's like a lot of the things just feel like they're coming out of nowhere. Or like, I'll see them coming just barely too late. Sometimes I see them just barely in time, and that's pretty awesome. But, not the usual case. I want you, your speed power up. Man, there's just so much stuff that it, and there's no landmarks, so it kind of like defies learning a little. Like if I could be like, oh, at the part with the thing coming out of the ground, I want to be in the middle of the screen, but like, I just have to maybe memorize it by the snakes that come out because they have unique patterns. Something like that. I think I want the Force on the front of me soon because we're gonna have yellow guys. Because I have the bounce lasers and that's a landmark. All the power-ups are landmarks. And yeah, yellow guys. Oh, orange bullets. That's what they do. That's different besides having more hit points. I like that my positioning for the snake always makes me open that speed power up early. Actually, no, that's not a thing I like. I'm lying to you. I am a horrible person. No, that's not true. Do I have 1 pixel of my desktop showing at the right edge of the camera? I don't know. It's hard to tell where my green corner things are that indicate where my camera is. So you might also be missing 1 pixel on the left edge of this action. I bet you're so left out. Because I can see my width. It says 768. So I know the width is right. I just don't know whether it's positioned a pixel off. I have clearly run out of things to say. Cameras! They're interesting! So, I don't know. What do these enemies look like? The ones that, like, are just flying at me all the time. I think of them as, like, brain monsters, even though they don't have, like, the little lines, because, I don't know, they have, like, a vaguely oval thing, and so, I don't know, I think of them as floating brains with, like, arms and jets. I don't know, how are they coming at me? Maybe they're crawling on the background. It looks like they've just got, like, 4 legs. I don't know how thin this passage is. Maybe the reason you can't dodge into the background is because it's literally the width of your ship. Perfect explanations for 2D shooters. It's not that the pilot didn't think to dodge into the background. It's just that there was a wall in the way that all these things are crawling on. Uh-huh. And in Ikaruga, the sky was just really solid, so you couldn't dodge downward or upward. And in space, same thing. It was really solid space. So 2D shooters explained. I mean, they didn't need explained. Everybody just accepts the 2D as an acceptable break from reality, both for technology and, I don't know, I really like 2D games, actually. 3D, I just feel like no matter what they do, at some point in the game you're going to be fighting the camera, and even when you're not, things are often less clear. Oh, I didn't have the force on my back yet. Surprise! Picking up a power-up doesn't automatically warp the force to the back of my ship. Yeah, like, in a 3D game, sometimes the collision isn't usually clear, especially with, like, walls, and, like, it's harder to estimate how far you can jump, because you're relying kind of on, like, fake depth perception, rather than you can see, like, oh, I can count out the squares, or, like, it's harder to compare to your character's width. Sometimes you can, like, rotate the camera in a way that helps you estimate jumps, but I just feel like everything about 3D is harder just because it's 3D. And so they have to make the games not require as much precision, usually, or, I'm dead again. I don't know, maybe it's that in real life I just have difficulty with, estimating distances with depth perception. I'm like really bad at it. So when I'm driving, often I'll wait until the road is like really clear before turning onto it, especially because like okay, there's this road I always have to turn out to with a left turn when I'm coming out of work, and even though it's a 25-mile-an-hour road, it's really near a highway. So a lot of the time, people will be speeding just because like they're used to the higher speed, and 25 feels like really extremely slow. But it's like really inconvenient when you're trying to turn onto the road. And I'll be like wondering if I can go, but I always have to spend an extra moment estimating the speed to see if I really have as much time. I can't just estimate the distance. I need to watch and be like, okay, they moved this far in this amount of time. And in that extra time I lose, even if they were going at a reasonable speed, there's just not any more time to make the turn. So, in conclusion, 3D is awful. We should just live in a 2D world. Hey, there's that bullet that killed me last time. That I actually made it here. Like an eon ago, literally. So I want to kill as many of these as I can so that they don't shoot me. Ah! Guys coming from behind. Totally hacks. But, you know, that's the learning you gotta do with this sort of game. I broke the power-ups early, so I'm gonna get swarmed and killed. I just don't know how to deal with it once I break both power-ups early. So, I guess right now I wouldn't even need any time links in the description, because I haven't really made it anywhere interesting, I guess. I guess there's that part with the yellow enemies. But like, wow, it's still a corridor of enemies. I wonder if this will just like be a corridor of enemies and then suddenly the boss. I know I said earlier that I figured there was probably some interesting design later in the level, but I'm dead. So I'm never gonna get to see it. I mean, but maybe this is just like a final gauntlet where they're throwing everything they have at you. Okay. Crash into the power-up carrier. That was my plan, clearly. Oh yeah, snake. I was watching the right edge of the screen for the power-up carrier that I needed to break early so that I would mess up and die. Yes. I should just not shoot right at the beginning of the level. But, I don't know, the habit is, like, there to always shoot in a scrolling shooter. Like, everybody does that. Because usually it's free. There's very little times when you don't want something dead. Okay, now with the speed power-up, I cannot get killed. Just kidding. I can still die immediately. Man, what if this game had rings? I was watching Bertrudor's final episode of Bubsy, and he was talking about how it would make such a difference in that game if you had rings. Or just like something that would allow you to pretty much always absorb hits. Because he was saying that in Sonic, that's what lets you go fast, even though it's usually a pretty bad idea if you don't want to be hit. Just because like the game lets you take so many hits. Yeah, this game, it lets you take no hits, like Bubsy. So yeah, dying continually. And still dying continually. So I thought this was going to be the final level, or I mean final episode. It is the final level. I've looked it up. Because I know there are 7 levels, and this is the 7th level. And I'm bad at it. Yes. So I was saying something, and it was probably worth saying. I'm not gonna claim it was good, but words are not that difficult. Talk is cheap. More supply than demand. That's something clever I read once. And I'm supplying it here. So the price of talk must be going down. I will buy a big bundle of talk sometime later, and I will have lowered the price so it will be more efficient. Final levels being difficult, dying all the time. There was a point to be made, and I don't feel like I made it. I'm dead. Taking hits, rings. No, I've lost it. Much like a billion lives, literally. They are all lost forever. I think I want to, yeah, continue on to the right part of the screen. Don't go back to the left immediately after grabbing both power-ups. So that will kill you 100% of the time, unless it doesn't. Like, the problem with a lot of these strategies that I keep repeating is because, like, they'll work once because I'll make, like, the dodge or I'll kill the right enemy, and then I don't learn that they just kill you all the time. I feel like there was one other time in this game where like I had a strategy that like really worked one time, but I forgot about it because there was one strategy that like worked one time. I feel like actually talking about Burp Truder's last episode of Bubsy a lot for some reason, but I feel like that part where he was ducking the lightning, that anybody who hasn't seen that won't even know what I'm talking about. I feel like taking the teleporter and dealing with the two guys, it looked easier anyway. I mean, he was the one actually playing the game, so his judgment is probably better. But it looked like it was one risky jump versus a long corridor of dealing with a very slow duck ability. Because, like, he could jump pretty far. I feel like he only needed to make, like, one jump. If I remember the second final episode well enough. I guess it's fine to talk about him because he requested this LP, and it's just bonus if anybody else watches it, pretty much. Man, I wonder who's made it this far in this episode, if I actually am showing all this. I guess if I win, I have to cut a lot of this. But I've mentioned I'm only playing for an hour. I have other things to record, like, Brave Fencer Musashi, episode 4, Epic Mickey, episode whatever I'm on. I don't even know. I think it's like 30-something? Oh, I'm dead. I think there was slowdown and it decreased there, and so I ran into the enemy. Killing dudes, the same dudes I always kill, even though that one is a mistake to kill early. Okay. I've made it out of the first 8 seconds or so. But not much farther. Ready? No, I'm not. I think that's clear by now. Don't shoot for a moment. Speed. Don't shoot the power-up carrier for a moment. Great power-up. Force. Didn't even have to go over to the right end of the screen. Didn't get overwhelmed. I don't like being on the edge of the screen, but these snake things like zone you so hard. Ah. As do the actual flying guys. Man, I've never had 2 bits in the whole game, but this would be pretty easy with 2 bits. Or at least not so incredibly difficult. Like, seriously. I'm dead. I'm alive. I thought going over and getting those was always a problem. I guess I didn't live much longer. Maybe it was a problem. Maybe it led to some long chain of events that caused me to be out of position. Stopped firing a little too late. We're going for it. We're dead. Because I didn't have speed. Like, I don't know. The first speed power-up seems to make a huge difference. The second, not so much. I barely notice it. I wonder if it doesn't even stack, and so they just like randomly put multiple speed power-ups on some levels and it doesn't do anything. I wonder if that one time I felt like out of control when I had 4 speed power-ups is just because the slowdown had stopped in that one part. Because it was all the enemies had cleared out right before the boss. That could be it. I'll always killing that guy, because I'm in the habit. It apparently hasn't killed me enough times for me to learn. Or rather, the problem is that sometimes it doesn't kill me. Ah! I thought he came in a little higher than that. Okay, I think I'm going to stay at the extreme top of the screen so that I kill the first guy that pops out without hitting the power-up carrier. Did he just not pop out since I was shooting there? Are these like bullet bills and they don't... No! Okay. I was wondering if staying close to the edge of the screen would prevent them from popping out, even though that's never worked with any other enemy or any edge of the screen. Like, the enemies that came out of the left that one time were totally content to just pop out and murder me. So, I don't know why I thought that might work. Yeah, I just killed him instantly. Ugh. Didn't move far enough. I didn't want to move too far from the power-up because I was gonna get zoned out of it. Wow, I'm amazing at this game. How did that work? Well, I'm not out of the fire yet. It's like, how did that work, I say, as I managed to make 10 seconds of progress into the level instead of my standard 8? Those are just guesses. You don't need to correct me on that. And maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit for comedic effect. Maybe I'm still bad at this game, but I managed to not shoot a single... I kind of want to call it an enemy because it's a thing you kill, but it's not an enemy. I didn't manage to shoot my allied power-up carrier that's unmanned. And so it's okay to open it because that's what they're there for. It's so much easier to call it an enemy. Okay, I have declared war on all the power-up carriers. They're my enemies now. It's going to be official R-Type canon too, because this is such an important LP that even though they've already made R-Type Final, which I think is intended to be the last R-Type game, yeah, for the next R-Type game, the power-up carriers are going to be your enemy. Yeah, in R-Type Final, I actually never beat Final C. I've beat every other level up in the game. Yes, I beat every other level in the game on novice or baby, I think they called it. But I beat them. But I've never beat Final C. But in Final C, you go back in time, and I guess you like prevent the Bido threat. Like there's this counter that shows you like what time you've made it to, and I think I made it like really close to the end. I forget what time I made it to because it's been so long, but yeah, I think the idea is like you prevent the Bido invasion, basically. And it's known as Operation Last Dance. That's what the whole mission is called, but the other two final levels are kind of like you went the wrong way and you ended up dealing with the threat, at least in Final A. I forget what happened, or no, Final B? I forget. I think one of the final is like a bad ending, because I think, yeah, let's see, stage 6B turns you into a Bido ship, and then I think like one of the final levels you're just like killing humans or something. So that's like a bad ending. Maybe I'm just making things up, I forget. It's been at least like 4 years or something. So I don't know why all the buttons from that game are so ingrained in me that I keep mixing up this game's buttons. I haven't mixed them up this episode though. Now that it's so incredibly hard that I can't live more than 8 seconds, I've finally got the buttons mastered. Probably. You know, until I mess it up at some critical moment. The trick is to not use the wave cannon ever, and so then you don't need to remember as many buttons. There's just 2 buttons, and I mean, NES controllers, not that difficult to learn. Wow! I survived that. I remember, there's one thing on game design I was reading one time, and it was saying that, since complexity makes your game harder to learn, and also sometimes less fun, because there's more to deal with, an interesting challenge is to design for a 2-button controller. Like, whatever game idea you have, if you can do it with less buttons, then that's usually pretty good. Like Super Mario World, I don't really like it as much because spin jump is actually kind of awkward to hit. Like, I mean, sure, a lot of people get used to it, and I mean, you can get used to it. But, like, as I was growing up, I basically never used spin jump unless I needed to break a block. I wouldn't spin jump on spinies or on thwomps. I don't think I even knew you could. Because why would you even try that? It makes no sense. Like, oh, I'm spinning, and that makes me bounce on spikes. But not other spikes. Just spikes that are attached to something that's alive. Unless it's those skeleton things. So, yeah. Much like how I would forgo the use of spin jump, I'm just not using the wave cannon anymore. Plus, the wave cannon wouldn't help me at all in this part. I think it's pretty clear. You're dealing with a lot of enemies that die in a hit. And they still murder you. Or the snakes. You just don't have time to charge up and kill a snake. You will die. Probably. I mean, somebody could post a video response and it's like, hey, look at me charge up and kill a snake. And I don't care. It's more risky than shooting. And I also don't have enough viewers that anybody will actually do that unless it's like 8 years from now I've become popular and somebody's watching my archive of this terrible R-type video that's going on for an hour of me making no progress. I'm predicting the next 14 or so minutes anyway. So yeah, they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna show this guy. You can charge up and kill a snake. Whoa! But don't watch the Racketeer videos, they're bad. At least the first, all of them. No, Racketeer was my first LP I started. It still hasn't finished because it's such a long game, and I was like, I'm gonna start LPing other things and do some leveling up off camera. And I'm pretty leveled up, but not quite enough. After I finish this game, I'm actually gonna bring Racketeer back. I'm gonna be recording less videos, just as I level up in Racketeer. And then once Racketeer finishes, I'll go back to 6 videos a week. I might just do my training on camera for the sake of being at 6 videos a week. But I don't expect those to be good videos or interesting. Just remind people that that's what I'm doing. Maybe talk about random things. Kind of like how with I nearly died to that orange bullet. Kind of like how Super Hexagon wasn't that interesting to watch. But as long as you talk about a thing, like I won't just be talking about like the gameplay. I'll try and find things to talk about. Gonna try and be interesting, even though it's just like I'm killing dudes. I guess that's what I'm doing in this episode, because I'm trying to be interesting, even though I'm just killing dudes. Okay, so huge wave of guys, gotta melee them. Third speed power up for some reason. Whoa, there's actually terrain here. That mine, I was like almost thinking they weren't gonna explode. Oh man, there's a guy. There's a power up. You basically can't avoid that power up if you want to make it through the level. So I guess I'm getting bounce lasers. I guess they're probably really good in this part because you can like always hit everything with 3 of them. Yeah, that deals tons of damage if you hit with all 3 lasers. Boss time? Okay. So at least the level is just that part. I was pretty close to the end a lot of times. But I'm so dead here. And maybe I don't know if I want to keep going now. Was that that's a sound that the enemy... What? What's that other ship? Does it kill me if I touch it? Is it helping me? Is it gonna help me kill? No, he's shooting ships at me. The 4 ships that he captured in his arms. But still, are they helping me? Ah, the blue thing hit me. But I think those ships are enemy ships. Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. We're gonna do this. I'll definitely provide some time links in this case, though. If you get bored of watching me die in this one corridor... This is the first run I make it to the boss on. That might spoil things for other people. Maybe I'll say enough in the description that you have to expand the description if you want the time links. Yes, that'll be the plan. You get what, 4 lines of text? I guess, does it depend on how wide people's window is? Or do you always get the same amount of text? I guess I can just visit as a viewer to my video and see. Yes, that'll be the plan. I'll have the first run, I make it to the boss. No, I'll just have all the runs I make it to the boss. No, the first run I make it to the boss, and then rather than the whole run I make it to the boss, just time links for any subsequent time I make it to the boss. And then the whole winning run will have another time link at the beginning, rather than just the boss fight. That's the plan. Wow, I made it to blue power up again after what, like 2 or 3 tries after getting to the boss? Maybe I'm dead here though. Maybe the force is amazing and kills everything. Whoa! Ah! Whoa! Not that one though. Okay. Cause like, I don't know. I feel like if I was gonna cut things, I would just cut whole runs. I wouldn't just make a death montage, cause I don't know. I wouldn't. It's not my style to just go full death montage. I like to include like the full thing I was saying as I died, and so that just, I don't know, cause like I feel like if I just like come in mid-statement with my editing, everybody's gonna wonder what I was saying. That is a watcher. I mean, people that don't watch my videos, they're not gonna wonder what I was saying, because they have absolutely no reason that they would. I mean, what kind of universe do you live in? One where there's a poison cow as a boss in a game. Not this game, but a game. Joey is the best boss ever. I don't even remember what the boss fight was like. I didn't happen to play that game, but Raocat played that game, and I am just mentioning LPers all the time. Random shoutouts because they're what I feel like talking about, and I just talk about the things I feel like talking about. I think that's pretty clear. It's like, hey, you know this LP you may not have watched? Well, I'm gonna talk about it. Ah. Oh yeah, with the lightning tunnel. I was saying that if something works once, it seems like you never learn that it's a bad idea. Maybe I had finished that thought. I don't know. It's been nearly an hour of dying. Yeah, the one guy doesn't seem to come out at all if you're like shooting where he wants to appear. But usually they are willing to just come out. Strange. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm pretty good at this level. Don't worry. We're gonna beat this. It looks like they're... Oh, I get why he doesn't come out. It's because he was moving through the wall. Like, I always saw something moving through the wall. Like, look. It's because he decided that the angle he was gonna come out causes him to just move through the wall. Because, they can't come straight at you. They have a limit to the number of angles they have available, usually, because of rounding. I'm guessing, anyway. Like, they probably need, full pixels of movement per frame. I don't know, maybe they have floats or whatever, but it seems like, maybe... Oh, they probably have a pre-calculated sine table. Sine and cosine, because, or not... No, they have no reason to calculate the angle first. Because they would just calculate the x difference and y difference, calculate the magnitude, and then divide both the x and y by a number that makes it be their speed, I imagine. If they wanted it to come straight at you. Maybe they do intentionally round some things. But yeah, due to rounding, he comes straight left once he spawns in the wall. So I guess that also means that they're actually spawning on screen, but you usually can't notice it because they're in the wall. Or maybe he does come down a little, but not nearly enough to actually come out and fight me. Oh, unless I move down a little before he actually decides on his direction. But, yeah, sine and cosine are actually really important when you're programming movement. If it's, say, like asteroids or something, where your movement is based on rotation and thrust, because when you apply thrust, you always accelerate vertically based on the sine of the angle and horizontally based on the cosine of the angle. So trig, important. I bet a lot of people would have never thought that. Video games and trigonometry, a match made in math class. I could have stayed back and shot that guy and then moved forward, but I was too scared of the other guys coming up at me. I think there were other guys coming at me. I always assumed that there were people coming at me from every direction. And of course it's useful for math, I mean, not forgetting where enemies are. It's also useful for like tons of engineering applications, of course. But I mean, I happen to be a programmer, so I care about the programming applications. My final project in AP Computer Science in high school, which was a class on Java, even though it says computer science, it was a Java class. Programming isn't all there is to computer science, but anyway, I made a basic asteroids game. It actually was less advanced than asteroids, if you can believe that. I mean, sure, I used colors, and I had this nice animated star field in the background with like pulsating stars. It was pretty neat. To prevent it from lagging the whole game, I used pre-calculated sine and cosine tables. You just like make an array with like 100 different values of sine and cosine, because calculating it real time is pretty intense. Or maybe I used like 180 values, not 100. Did I say 180 to begin with? I don't even know. But and I had like 3 different weapons with different firing speeds and damage values. Because, I mean, asteroids had hit points. I think asteroids in the real game have hit points. They don't just break once you shoot them once. Anyway, and I had, like, some asteroids, where just because I had extra time, where they had this, like, little colored wedge on them where your bullets would bounce off. They couldn't hit you. They could hit other asteroids, but, I was just bored, and I wanted to program more things, because I was kind of ahead in that class. But yeah, I've made asteroids. The one simplification, the thing that made it less advanced than the actual asteroids game, is instead of being a triangle, the ship was a circle with a line drawn on it, so you could tell which way it was facing. That greatly simplifies collision detection, because if you know the radius of an asteroid... Oh yeah, my asteroids were also all perfect circles. They weren't the jaggedy asteroids that you see in the real game. Yeah, if everything is literally a circle, your collision detection algorithm is the distance formula compared to the sum of the radii. And then I subtracted a little from whichever end it was correct to subtract to, so that instead of being considered colliding if your edges touched, you were considered colliding if it actually like slammed into you by 2 pixels or something. It didn't hit you until it was 2 pixels into your ship. And it feels a lot better that way. Dying if something merely touches you on the side, or just like grazes you a little, that just doesn't feel as good. It needs to be a clean hit. But yeah, angles, they're important. And... I don't know, if a ship feels like it accelerates oddly in a game, especially if you are supposed to have full analog movement, it's probably because of rounding in the movement. Because, for a while, I had movement where even though your, speed was a decimal, so that you would, like, accelerate properly and not accelerate 1 pixel per frame, because that's crazy fast acceleration. Oh, my screensaver. It didn't kill me. I died right before it came up. But, it's been an hour. Angles, programming, asteroids. Oh, yeah, I was moving on a grid of integers, and so after moving, my final position was rounded every frame. So you didn't start moving 2 pixels per frame until you would just move straight from 1 pixel per frame to 2 pixels per frame. You'd be accelerating for a while and your speed would suddenly double. Also, you couldn't move smoothly at any angle. Like, you could be moving 2 pixels up and 1 pixel right per frame. Whoa, I killed that guy in the wall. But, I wonder if my missiles were killing guys some of the times when I thought I would die. So yeah, like, you could only move in whole number ratios. You couldn't move, like, 1.5 pixels right and 2/3 of a pixel up. And so it made the acceleration feel really weird. And so then I made people just move around on a grid of, I forget if it was float or double, but it was a decimal sort of data type. And then I wasn't rounding your position every frame. And that feels a lot smoother. So I don't know. A lot of commercial games, I imagine, don't actually make those mistakes. That was a mistake for me. There started to be less slowdown. I think because I picked up some power-up other than blue. Yeah. But, like, if I'm watching a game made in Game Maker or something, I feel like I have a lot of insight into a lot of the bugs that it's easy to make. One other easy-to-make bug is, when you land on something, or no, when you collide with ground, reset your vertical speed. And that can feel odd if you jump into a wall. You kind of will make this like stuttering motion downward that's slower than just falling through air. I think that came up in one of the GMC jams, the 72-hour contest that Raukau played. He was playing some game and I have made that exact mistake in programming. And of course they had 72 hours, so not like you're gonna fix every bug. Yeah, it can be really weird if you run into a wall while in the air and it resets your downward speed. Obviously it doesn't feel weird with a ceiling, because if you hit a ceiling you are moving up and you expect to stop moving up. And if you run into the ground you expect to stop moving down. But when you run into a wall, unless it's like Mega Man X or something where you expect to move differently when you're on a wall, it's just so weird. So yeah, that's just the bug where you figure if you run into something while you're in the air, or even while you're not in the air, you've reset the vertical speed. But that only provides good interaction if people don't run into walls while in the air. And I mean, most of the time when people are platforming, they don't just like go like, oh, here's a wall, I'm gonna jump into it. Unless they're like climbing some weird staircase like construction, or like they miss a jump. So if it's the sort of platformer where your main concern is maybe enemies rather than jumps, and you're not gonna have an issue where you run into solid walls, sometimes it's actually just a good enough approximation, especially if you like don't have any death pits. So like if all your platforms are say soft platforms, but then you're gonna need more programming to deal with soft platforms. By soft platforms I mean the kind that you can jump up through but not down through, or maybe you can duck down through them if you're standing on them, but they act as ground only if you're moving down. Except I really like the design on the Super Smash Brothers soft platforms. How am I so far off from R-Type? But I like that you can if you are fast falling and holding down, you can move through them without stopping. I think that's pretty neat. I feel like there's some other game where the handling of soft platforms is if you're holding down, you go down through them. Some game. I don't know. But in R-Type, there's clearly no platforming concerns whatsoever. You can fly freely, and all your concerns are enemies that want to kill you. I wonder how many games the concern is enemies that don't want to kill you. I guess if the concern is mostly social. Or if it's like Pokemon, where they just want to beat you in a Pokemon battle. Uh-huh. You try talking for an hour about things. No, I know other people have managed it. I could use more practice at commenting on a singular hall of enemies more. So that's what I'm doing, apparently. Practicing this hallway of commentary. Uh-huh. And snakes. Commentary and snakes. And almost running into that guy yet again. Because I don't remember he's there. Memorization is not a thing that's going on here. It's just too much. Alright. This continue is going to be my last try, then I'm going to take a break. Until Wednesday. And the video I record Wednesday, it's going to go up not Wednesday, it's going to go up Friday. Because you're watching this, well, sometime after Tuesday. Maybe you don't watch it the day I upload it, especially because I usually upload it in the evening. Because in the morning, I just don't have that much time because I go to work at 8. And my job as a programmer, well, it's interesting, isn't video games, so all this physics stuff that I mentioned isn't useful to me in my life, usually. Someday I want to make a game, other than my, like, stupid asteroids thing. I mean, like, I want to make an actual, like, game that I have designed myself. Rather than, like, borrowing a design and just cloning it. Although, cloning a game is a really good exercise for learning. I have also cloned Geometry Wars at some point, using Game Maker, not using Java. Once again, I made everything a circle. Or no, I didn't make everything a circle, because the Game Maker does collision for you. I made the main character a circle. And a lot of the graphics didn't even look as good as the Geometry Wars graphics, because I just used the sprite editor. So they were basically like crappy MS Paint drawings, except they weren't even produced in something as good as MS Paint. But yeah, I've done Geometry Wars. I could never get the handling of black holes to feel quite right. And I don't know how the scoring works with them in Geometry Wars, and so they just weren't handled well at all. But beyond that, or besides that, and I like selectable characters. It was kind of neat. I don't know if I actually have the code for that anymore. Wait, have I continued yet since I said that it was going to be my last continue? I don't think so. Whoa, I thought that was going to be it. Uh-huh. Blue power-up, okay. I feel like I want to be a little off-center. Ah! If I could have gotten the blue power going, I could have killed that enemy, but I failed to get the force on my front once, and that took too much time. I feel like continuing to play, actually. Forget what I said about giving up. Yeah, if I could have killed that enemy... Right, I was saying I wanted to be off-center a little, because I know there's a snake that comes directly from the middle. Oh, I'm dead. Yeah, a snake that comes directly from the middle, and I don't think anything else comes directly from that edge of the screen. except for there are 2 yellow guys that show up also kind of in the middle of the screen. I don't think anything really comes to the top and bottom sides. Whoa! That was a speed power-up, right? And I don't know why I ran face first into that snake. Sometimes I panic a little, okay? And sometimes I rush for power-ups and don't die for it immediately. Oh yeah, being protected with the Force, because that hasn't changed. That's a thing that the Force does. If it's on my back, I pretty much don't have to worry about things behind me. Unless it's a snake, because they do not die instantly. Or those yellow guys would probably kill me if I was sitting on the edge of the screen, because I don't think the Force will hurt it before it's really on screen. I don't know, maybe they do start existing. Oh yeah, that guy. Okay, so I don't want to head up there quite right away. I need some water. I have some water here, though. Okay, we're doing this. And then I'm gonna take a break before recording anything else. Yeah, get the speed power up first, you're fine. Until you die. You're not fine for the whole level if you get the speed power up first. I know everybody probably thought that. That's totally what I meant too. But no, speed power up does not make you invincible. Unfortunately. No, this game would be hilariously broken if the speed power up made you invincible for the rest of the level. Especially because it's like usually the first power up they give you. Or is it always the first power up they give you? I don't happen to remember. And in this case, it's also the third power up they give you. There are no bits on this level. I wonder if I have people yelling at me by now to just keep loading my save state at the beginning of the level to get my bit back. And I had a Force and a couple speed power-ups then. Like, coming into this level, I had such a better chance than after each death. But I don't want to use save states. I could have probably also had this beat by now if I dropped a save state at the boss. Because then I could just keep retrying the boss. And I would have learned it pretty quickly, I bet, that way. Like, the main problem with bosses in this game is that you get to fight them so few times. Because the levels are still hard. Ah! Okay. It worked. Kind of. Man, this level you just always feel so in danger from a lot of directions. I want that, but I don't want to die for it, and I didn't. Sometimes you see a power-up and you have to not go for it right away because it will kill you. And sometimes you can even get it later. Okay, I don't want to transfer this yet until I've killed... I don't want to transfer this until yellow guys start showing up, actually. I think that's been my issue on a couple of runs. I think literally every choice I could make has been my issue on a couple of runs. Let's face it, I have died so many times. Okay, this seems like a good time. Even though the yellow guys haven't started showing up, I think they're coming. Yeah, here they are. Ah! I wanted to kill him with the Force so he wouldn't kill him with an orange bullet. Because I don't like it when yellow guys get past me. Because then they're going to kill me with their orange bullets. That I will not see coming. Because they're little small projectiles. And like everything else that threatens you is like so huge and attention grabbing. I guess orange is at least an attention grabbing color. They didn't like make their deadly projectiles like dark green or something. No, it at least... there's at least that. Blue power? How short is this level? If you don't die... I thought blue power was much later in the level, but then I was surprised to see it there so soon after I've gotten a blue power up. Okay, yeah, there's me dying. I don't know. That's also what makes it hard to edit. Sort of like They Bleed Pixels. It has similar editing difficulties because I don't usually even make it that far after here my beginning of level, and in that game my checkpoints. So like as long as I keep talking, like I don't know. It already is a death montage. What more death montage do you want? And with the new Windows Movie Maker, you lose your sound if you speed the thing up, so I can't really use speed up in a useful way. Problems. This is definitely going to be a multi-part video. Oh, maybe, Like, I don't expect anybody to just, like, sit down and dedicate an hour 15 by now to, me talking while dying repeatedly in this same corridor. But, you know, maybe like 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. I hope I'm interesting enough to come back to several times in this same corridor. Yeah, and like in a lot of LPs, I often ask if I'm cutting enough, if I should be... Because, like, I always feel like I'm never cutting enough. I think I especially ask that in the descriptions of They Bleed Pixels. But then, I don't have enough viewers that watch all my stuff to really get much feedback. Like, nobody has told me I'm not cutting enough. Ever. Because nobody's presented any opinions. I don't know. I'm really happy with the commentary on this episode, actually. Like, it's surprisingly so, for how long it's been and how I'm just dying a bunch. Maybe it's because every time I mention that all I'm doing is dying a bunch, I find it funny. I am sometimes amused by the strangest things. I mean, dying, I guess, is funny. As long as the guy doesn't get angry. Like, if I was angry, I would not want to watch this. Or, like, if I was getting just, like, sad, I wouldn't be entertained. It's only funny if the person dying thinks it's funny. And I think it's funny. As much as I'd like to win this level on this attempt, please. Dying, it's funny. Actually, I think just how much I'm dying is funny. Dying to the boss wouldn't be as funny. But, like, dying in this intro part after every 8 seconds, I believe was the joke. That's funny. A+ comedy. I almost said commentary, but dying is not a form of commentary. Unless you time your deaths so that you're saying something secret in Morse code. Maybe that's what I've been doing all this time. I just wanted a really long message. Ones where I get to the blue power-ups or dashes, and I'm totally lying to you, and it's probably just like a bunch of dots. Plus, I have no character separator. Or maybe it's the character separator if I get to the blue power-up, and if I make it to the second speed power-up, it's dash. And if you translate this whole message, it's gonna be gibberish. Please don't actually go through and do that. That would be the most pointless thing anybody has ever done. Except I'm exaggerating. I'm sure somebody's done something more pointless. I mean, the internet exists. Not that the internet's pointless, but it's good for discovering pointless things. I'm sure somebody can link me to something more pointless. Except, wait, you can't put links in comments, can you? That's why people always just put, like, watch equals numbers if they want to link, or if they kind of want to link a YouTube video in the comments, because you can't watch, or you can't link the full video, but you can provide enough of the URL that everybody knows where you're going. Yes. So yeah. Here's a dash, unless it's a character separator, because I might make it to the blue power-up. Nobody would ever figure it out if you tried to embed a message in your deaths. Unless you said that you were doing it. And were somehow good enough that you actually could do it. Like, even if I tried, I would have so many typos, because that beginning part, it murders me. This part murders me too, where the snake comes right out of the middle back. As demonstrated. Because I never remember that that's the part that's coming up. Oh man, I had hoped to kill that guy, because I'm curious how I even hit him that one time that I got him. Or wait, I think the one time I killed somebody that was in the top like that, I had a force. It wasn't that precise guy. The force probably was wide enough to get him. Because it seems like wider than it actually is. I like when this guy just moves through the wall. It amuses me still. It's a funny quirk of the way their movement dishes in rounds or something. Da, 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 da. By the way, I feel like the most interesting programming, after you get all the physics out of the way, which actually isn't too interesting, it's just something you have to do and something that is difficult, is enemy AI. It's so difficult to do an interesting enemy AI. So, I don't know. I guess that's why, in a lot of games, the design comes from not interesting enemies, but interesting enemy placements. Like, in Castlevania, there's an enemy that's just a skeleton that walks back and forth and throws a bone periodically. And it's not too interesting. If it was just placed on flat ground, you would wait for it to throw a bone, run up and kill it. But usually they're placed like up on a ledge or something, so that you have to like time your jump right and make sure that you don't accidentally run into the skeleton as part of your jump. And it's challenging by placement. So like these enemies, they're not threatening individually, but they're challenging because they're placed with other enemies. Maybe the enemy spam is a less interesting way of using a platform, but what are you gonna do in a scrolling shooter? Well, you're gonna make interesting terrain. That's what you're gonna do. Unfortunately, they seem to have run out of interesting terrain in this final level. I mean, the part at the end where your bounce lasers just murder everything because they have a narrow hallway is kind of neat. But, this final level, it feels like it has more potential to be an interesting level, but it's just not. They're spamming enemies. The interest comes from the snakes, because they are almost terrain, because you don't have time to focus them down and kill them. You are dealing with all these enemies that die in one hit instead. So I guess that's a neat thing they did with the design. They prevented you from killing snakes by spamming enemies. Oh, hey, I can probably kill this guy with the wave. No, I can't kill that guy with the wave cannon. If I had charged it to 2, I bet I would have had him. Or maybe the wall would have blocked me. I'm gonna try and kill that guy this time. Man, if I just make half-hour segments, I have episodes for, like, the next week and a half already. And it will be proven that I am literally the worst at cutting anything ever. Speed power up. Wait for a good time to go. Great power up. I wonder how many messages you can spell with a bunch of dots. In Morse code, I mean. I don't know Morse code. Not a lot of people know Morse code nowadays. I guess even when Morse code was like actually in use as a main method of communication, really only the telegraph operators needed to know Morse code. And nowadays, amateur radio, they no longer need to know Morse code. I guess radio technology has improved enough that you can usually get a clear voice signal, so it's just not as important to be able to communicate digitally when you're signal isn't as strong or something. Or not digitally. I bet Morse code was still analog, but it's probably easier to hear a tone when your connection isn't as good than telling what somebody's saying. Everybody knows from cell phones that when your connection isn't good, it's difficult to tell what people are saying. Because cell phones, that's what everybody has nowadays. I even have one. It was quite a while before I had one. I was like third year of college before I had a cell phone, something like that. It was second year. I think it was second year. I don't have a smartphone though. I am behind the times because I don't know. I have a 3DS. What do I need a smartphone for? I guess texting would be nicer on a smartphone, but I don't really text. I use my phone when I want to make important phone calls, and I chat over Skype when I want to chat. A smartphone provides nothing that I don't get somewhere else, and I feel like the monthly fees probably stack up, and so I don't know, the cost of a smartphone is way more than that initial like 200 you put down for one. I just don't think the economics of smartphones work out such that it would be worth it, because like for the extra monthly fee of a smartphone, I can probably buy like an indie game on Steam every month if I want one. I can probably get a smartphone and buy all the indie games I could ever play anyway, but that's besides the point. I don't know. Think about it. If you have a smartphone, do you need it? Could you use the extra money every month? Because, I mean, I don't have a data plan. I have a very basic texting plan. I forget what my monthly fee on a phone is. But I bet it's less than most smartphone users have. R-Type, everybody! The game where I talk about cell phones. Because this is still one continuous recording. It's been going on for nearly an hour and a half. And I'm in a hallway. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So yeah, like, not that I think that people shouldn't get nice things. I just think it's important to consider which nice things will actually benefit you the most. For me, I like games I wouldn't get any use out of a smartphone, so I don't have a smartphone. How did I get on the subject of smartphones, though? Cell phones, college... No idea. I think I just looked over at my cell phone because it's sitting on my desk. Whoa! Enemies. It's surprising somehow. Enemies on this level? Enemy spam the level! Speaking of economics, though, I feel like microeconomics was among the better classes I took in college that wasn't a computer-related class. Because rather than, like, studying things like the economy that's, like, basically beyond analysis and everybody always gets it wrong even if they're an economist, because it's so complicated, much like the weather. The weather is complicated. But, microeconomics, it basically treats everything as the study of making decisions. That's a point that a guy that wrote a book called Freakonomics kind of makes. But like my economics class, it felt like it was more about decision making, and it just often put it in the context of a purchase decision. But it would also talk about like whether you want to go to the movies or go to an amusement park or something. I guess that's still you're buying things, but a central theme of the class was opportunity cost. The cost of doing anything isn't necessarily the resources that you spend on whatever you're doing, which is more resources than just money. Like, there's your time. If it's something that's exhausting to do, it leaves you tired. Like, you can't run a marathon and then go to the gym and exercise, because part of the cost of running a marathon is your energy. But that opportunity cost isn't about those resources, even though considering non-money, non-time resources is pretty interesting. Even just considering time as a resource is pretty interesting. Like, I've found that since I've got a 40-hour-a-week job, time has become significantly more valuable to me. Just by virtue of the fact that I don't have as much of it. And money is significantly less valuable to me. Yes. But, opportunity cost. I want to finish the point I'm making. The cost of doing anything is that you didn't do the second best thing. Which is assumed to be the second best, because if it was the best thing to do, you would have done it. Assuming you're making rational decisions. Of course, you don't always know, so the opportunity cost of doing the thing that we're calling second best might actually be that you didn't do what's actually the second best thing. But yeah, like, the cost of using up resources is that you don't get to do other things with the resources, so you might as well consider the cost of anything as the fact that you didn't do something else. The cost of me making this R-Type video right now is that I'm not playing Retrovirus, or something like that. But, you know, making videos is valuable to me. I consider my Retrovirus time to not be valuable. Maybe I wouldn't even be playing Retrovirus, because, I don't know. It's a game, and I have a lot of games I like. Maybe I would have played League of Legends. Maybe I would have watched a League of Legends stream while playing an MMO, grinding up some levels or something. Usually my game selection actually has a lot to do with how much energy I feel like I have. If I'm exhausted, I am not going to feel like League of Legends. Because it's a competitive game, and you played in a team. I actually, anytime I'm playing with strangers in a team situation, I always get like this big like mental thing where I don't want to let anybody down. I'm fine with losing. I just don't want to disappoint anybody. Even if the cause of the loss is me, if I feel like I played a good game, but just like the entire enemy team felt the need to focus me or something, and my allies... no, I shouldn't blame my allies for not making plays anywhere else on the map. I don't know. If I make a mistake that I feel like anybody at my level of play would have made, yes, that's it. If my mistakes were things I feel anybody would have done, then I'm pretty fine with it. But if I just, like, totally miss a Sona ult, it hits 0 people and I didn't even use flash, it's like, man, what am I doing playing this game? I am such a horrible person for letting my whole team down. But, I mean, if I can deal with those feelings if I'm feeling well to begin with, but, I don't know. Speaking of team games, I also like really just like filling in roles and doing what people likes to do. I play support a ton. I'm pretty much a support main. Sona is my favorite character, so that's fine. I feel really incompetent at top lane actually, and jungle and AD carry. I feel like a competent mid laner though. I think I can mid decently well. Not as well as my support. And it's not that support's like an easy role, although some aspects of the game mechanically are simplified because you don't have to get as much creep score. It's only important to get creep score when you're when the person who actually is supposed to be getting it is away. Sort of like say you're playing support Genji in Awesomenauts, trying to bring in Awesomenauts because Birchador is the one that requested this, and I don't know if he plays League of Legends. If you want your allies to get more money because you're just supporting them, Like, sure, your support skills are valuable. You want money so you can get your support skills. But if you're trying to act as a force multiplier for your team with, like, your shield or whatever, you might only want to be the one that finishes off droids if nobody else is in the lane. So similar for support in League of Legends, if the person that you want to just get a bunch of money and kill everybody is with you still, I'm bad at this game, you want to let them get it. So you don't really need the ability to last hit your enemies quite as much if you're support. You do other things though. You harass the enemy without trying to take much back because you really can't take much back. You try to provide vision for your team in important locations. You might call out when people even in other lanes are missing. Because especially now that they have the enemy missing ping, where you can ping the map. If you ping the middle, even though you're bot lane, it's obvious that you noticed that somebody was missing middle. I don't know. Support has a lot of interesting things to do that aren't getting creep score. Or droid kills, if I'm to use the Awesomenauts reference. I feel like Awesomenauts has a different metagame, though, where supporting roles either can't farm enemies, or they still need the farm. League of Legends is way different, where the support usually is successful even if they don't get much money. What they do want is experience, which is separate from money in League of Legends. But I really like League of Legends. I think it's a good game. Just, it's not when I play when I'm feeling exhausted. When I'm feeling exhausted, you just put on music or a stream or something, and you play an MMO. Because MMOs, they're usually pretty easy to play. Some MMOs, it's different though. Like, I don't know, there are a lot of like action MMOs. That's kind of actually my favorite kind of MMO. I don't really like the just boring grindiness of a lot of other MMOs. L-Sword. I don't know if it's a good game overall. I'm not too far in it. But, I mean, that's pretty fun. It's still a little, like, basic and grindy, but it's action. You can feel like you dodge enemies, and if you play well, you only get hit, like, a low number of times in dungeon, and your friends are impressed that you got an S instead of the A's that they got. Yeah, I am, like, randomly the best at L-Sword in the group, I'm pretty sure. At least the game seems to think so. Maybe it's just that I'm sticking back, but I still get good combo scores. But maybe the character I play just naturally gets good combo scores. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overpowered. But I don't know. Everybody wonders, like, how I get S ranks when they're getting A's. Everybody as in, like, the 3 friends that I play L-Sword with. Everybody within the scope of the conversation. Man, scope is an amazing concept in programming, okay? I'm being really random now. It's been a long time. I'm on this level. It is the most fascinating level in the history of levels. But, scope is also a thing that comes up in conversation. It's basically the concept of if you're already in one context, you can say something or declare a variable, and it relates only to things in that context. I guess it works a little backwards in programming compared to in actual language. But like, say I'm talking about R-type, and I might say that a specific enemy basically catches everyone. I don't literally mean everybody on the entire planet has been surprised by that enemy. I only mean everybody who has played R-type and made it to that level. And my statements are all basically scoped to R-type players, because I'm already talking about R-type. Oh man, I almost ran into that snake while trying to transfer my force again. Maybe that's why that snake keeps catching me, actually. But, so, in language, scope is basically we are always talking about the thing that we're talking about, unless we actually change the subject. And our subject changes are usually pretty obvious. And the slowdown in this game makes this doable. I nearly died when the slowdown stopped. But in programming, scope works kind of backwards compared to that. Scope makes it so that if you declare a variable in a specific function, that variable disappears when you're done with the function. It's for efficiency and also so that you can reuse variable names that are just generally useful variable names. And you won't worry about like overwriting other values because the value is gone. And it also is less likely to have you make a mistake because you aren't actually accidentally going to reuse an old value. So in language, scope makes it so that we're not talking about things from other places, and in programming, scope makes it so that when we stop talking about a thing, we're done talking about it. Because like, even if you're in a specific function, you have all your global variables. Of course, using global variables is usually bad practice. In object-oriented languages, you often have not global variables, but object-wide variables. So like, a person might have a height, and any function could use their height, but a ball isn't gonna know what the height of the person is. Object-oriented programming, I like it. It's pretty neat. I won't say it's strictly superior to what's the other main type of programming called? And object-oriented, it's like not really strictly objects all the time. I mean, you've got your imperative. I think that's what it is. So there are two types of programming, basically. Two camps that are main ways of thinking about things. One, you mostly think about the flow of the program as the main thing. You care about what your program is doing, and your program just keeps doing things that you've laid out in a sequence, usually. Then object-oriented programming, you can still do that style where you just have like a program flow that runs, but often what you are thinking about rather than program flow is you're thinking about objects that can do things. Objects often like keep track of their own state a lot, and they have their own functions that modify themselves and maybe give back a value too. So object-oriented programming lends itself to games a lot because you have like enemies that move in specific ways. The player moves in specific ways. So like the player's movement per frame will consider the input of the controller. You could make enemies that consider the input of the controller. It's just as easy to program having buttons move everything on screen than having buttons move just one thing on screen, which is kind of amusing. So yeah, it would be much harder to write that in an imperative style, I feel. What's good in an imperative style, though? Well, like, if you're computing the digits of pi or something, you don't really need objects. What objects are you even going to use to structure your program? I really hope this is interesting. Like, programming is a subject that interests me. And, I don't know. I feel like I've already talked about the one interesting programming thing that relates to this game. Like, that I feel like the enemy movement is rounded, and so sometimes they don't come straight at me, and sometimes they get stuck in walls. Man, I feel like the boss isn't that hard, at least not the phase 1. I just ran into a blue bullet like I was dumb because I was watching the other plane that happened to be facing the enemy and wondering if the plane would kill me. I like chickened out as it came in terms of running into the other fighter to see if that would kill me, and then like I just forgot what I was doing. But yeah, like this level isn't even that long. It's being long because I die so much. Wow, I'm dead again. What a surprise. Ow. Yeah, I think I'll cut the part about object-oriented programming. That was not an interesting discussion. Cause I don't know. I don't even feel like I did it justice. How did I even get on the topic? I guess just because I'm saying literally everything that comes to mind. Yeah, that probably isn't actually correct use of literally. Sometimes I feel like it's funnier if you use the word figuratively for emphasis, just because literally is so common to say when you're not actually literal, that saying figuratively when you're actually being figurative still works as emphasis. I think it's just that people want a long word in the middle there, that it adds to the impact. And that game over has no impact whatsoever, because this game just lets you keep continuing. It's like, yep, that's a game over. Man, I should have played Silver Surfer. No, I don't know. That game did look reasonable with a turbo button, though. I would not want to play it actually mashing the button. And this game, it has a rapid fire button, so it's already a better designed game. Also, this game has difficulties. I didn't have to play this on normal. I am beginning to regret my decision. Another problem with editing is as this gets longer, I'm going to feel less and less like editing it, even though it's more and more important. Potatoes. That's what I think of this situation. It's potatoes. And that ship is just going to keep flying to the right every time the game over comes up. But I'm not going to use my save state for extra power-ups. I'm going to even save state if I take a break from recording, specifically so that I don't have my power-ups available. Because I feel like I can beat this legitimately. It's even reasonable to do so. I'm just bad at this game. Because this level, it's not that long. I should be able to learn it. It's just I'm not good at this type of learning. Learning enemy patterns is more difficult for some reason. Or maybe the trouble is they're not really that patterned, because a lot of them are based on my own position. Like, the snakes always do the same thing. There's going to be a snake that comes from the back soon, but I died as I was starting to say that there was going to be that snake. So yeah, nondescript tunnel time. I guess if I feel like preserving the commentary is worth it, I could put time links of everything I talked about. That was like a meaningful subject change. Obviously, talking about R-Type is just something that's going to happen throughout. Or rather, mentioning that all I do in this level is die, because I have been in this hallway for an hour and 47 minutes. Yup, I sure have. Maybe I'll just provide an uncut version. Because, I don't know. I feel like some of the things that I've said are worth it. Yes, not editing at this point would just be irresponsible. Especially because I really haven't run out of things to say. Maybe I just started going in on, like, totally random topics like programming because, I felt like if I kept talking, that I wouldn't have to edit. I mean, time spent uploading is pretty meaningless to me. So, I mean, I can upload a 2-hour video. Just, nobody would want to watch it. I wouldn't want to watch it. I would watch it in 30-minute segments, I bet. Has the snake that comes from the back middle come out yet? I'm gonna try and transfer the force here and nearly die for it. Staying forward a little because I don't want to die to things from the back. Oh man, getting to the edges is dangerous, but I feel like I want to kill these yellow things. Okay, we've got mines going on. I'm gonna get shot at. I'm gonna get yellow power. I'm gonna get shot at. Okay. Whoa! Getting shot at. What a surprise. Okay, this part. Oh! There's a snake! I didn't notice him among all that yellow. Yeah, I'll definitely provide a Classy of Rambles, the uncut version. But I should be able to make a half-hour video out of this, because even though I've said a lot of things, I didn't get to new places that often, so I can just make like a death montage where it's just like bang, 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 because there are only 3 shots in my death montage. But we're doing this. I might even have to pause and get more water, but we're doing this. I think I'm gonna quit talking. Oh! The problem there is I was thinking of saying something. In fact, I was thinking of saying, wow, if you quit talking, you just start winning. Yeah, this level probably does require all my attention. Oh wow, it says pause in the lower left if you pause it. Oh, the snake blocks my blue bullets from the force. That's why it stopped protecting me from at least above, even though I moved down enough that its blue bullets should have had time to kill enemies. Snakes. Blocking things. Oh man. At least this level doesn't have any slow parts where you're just waiting for things. That might get boring. Okay, so there's the one that comes from the back middle. I want to transfer the force soon. You know, once I get that second power up, sitting in the force is pretty good. Maybe if I had put the force in the back middle rather than being near the edges, it would have been less dangerous. Or sitting in the V made by the force, I mean. Not sitting in the force. You can't do that. You would start pushing it along and stuff. Alright, just gotta use my melee on some guys. Oh, there's a snake here! Still. I needed to melee better. Maybe if I send the force forward? Because yeah, that's like the last wave of enemies, isn't it? Oh, but snakes are gonna block my bullets. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I gotta keep the force attached. That snake prevents you from just sitting at the front with the force on the back, okay. Plus some of the enemies will come in at the killer angle. Oh, and that snake too. Hello? Hi? Wow. Maybe it's because I keep the force on the back, but the front of the screen seems so much safer. And now the back of the screen will seem so much safer. Whoa! Why is there no slowdown suddenly? Okay, thanks. I think I want this snake dead. Oh! It turns left there. Okay, so in that part I need to be in the bottom half of the screen. My problem is I keep being on the top, and that's where the snake prevents you from doing things right. I'm liking this right part of the screen idea, though. Oh, except for that one. They're like 3 dangerous snakes, but the normal enemies are way easier to deal with. Alright, yep, knew he was coming. Yep, you. And then one from the bottom soon, but Yep, right there. Ah, I needed to be left a little more. That guy was dodgeable. Two hours now. So yeah, maybe not the right part of the screen. Not liking that plan so much. Oh, I'm not liking the left part of the screen either. Oh, I forgot the plan. I didn't die for it. So if the snakes weren't existent, you could just move forward and backward to deal with all of that enemy. So I guess that is pretty interesting placement. Please don't speed up randomly. So if you kill the heads of the snakes, do they just leave? I feel like it altered the path of the one. Yeah, it seems like the snakes just leave if you destroy their heads. Or maybe? I don't know. I'm dead. Eh? Alright. There's a good block. Okay, now that snake's gonna disappear instead of... Does that enemy type slow down while it's taking damage? Strange. Run! Oh wow, the way they shoot also kind of has that strange kind of almost as if it's rounding behavior. Boss time. Yep, you've sure captured other ships. I don't even know what I'm supposed to shoot at first. Oh, and those turn multiple times. Awesome. I guess am I shooting at the ships? Do I want them dead? They don't I can't tell if they're helping me or Just decoration? Oh man. Oh, it closes up. I need my slowdown lasers. But I also like want to deal damage. I'm right here when it opens up. Okay, now I just gotta deal with a swarm of enemies. Oh! My timer reads 2 hours 12 minutes for the record. This was quite a marathon session. I have no control over this. It's not like an escape sequence. The music probably also gives that away. And the fact that the ship is moving slowly and smoothly. It's clearly a cutscene. I hope they don't give me back control at the end of this because I'm drinking the rest of my water. Just needed to stop talking and focus, and then still take like half an hour or something. Wait. Okay, cool. We escaped by destroying a wall. And I guess the other ships I rescued backed me up or something. I don't know. Oh wow! There's an ending here. Oh. Death Stars. Yeah, no problem. You're welcome. I'll give my thoughts on this game in another video. What? No, I'm not gonna play through hard mode. Were you joking? Yeah, they're joking. Anyway, see ya.